Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Capital Raiser Show, Season 5, powered by the Family Office Club. I'm your new host, Weston Walker, and we interview only the best investment managers and entrepreneurs. Shout out to our sponsors, the Family Office Club, Capitalist Pro, and Invest Next. Today we have Savannah Arroyo. She's the CEO and co-founder, or CEO and founder of Net Worth Nurse and her newest fintech startup, Invest Health. She began her real estate investing career at the beginning of 2020 and has since purchased about $20 million worth of properties. Savannah, welcome to the show. Of
Hi, yeah, thanks. I'm stoked to be here.
course. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your background and your journey from being a nurse to doing both nursing and investing in real estate.
Yeah, so really at a young age, I always knew I wanted to be a nurse. So right out of high school, I was going into college pursuing a nursing degree. And even when I graduated with my nursing degree and got my RN license and started working in the healthcare system, I was naturally drawn towards process improvement and operations. I loved leadership positions. And so pretty early on, I went back to school. I got my master's degree in nursing leadership and administration. And I had my eyes set on becoming a CNO, a chief nursing officer. And I started climbing the corporate ladder and working my way towards that. And it wasn't until the beginning of 2020, after having my second daughter, that a lot of my priorities started shifting. I was looking at my very, very demanding Monday through Friday schedule, and it just didn't really allow a lot of the flexibility and time freedom that I wanted to have with my children. And at this point, I was putting away 15 to 20% of my retirement towards my investments and my or 15 to 20% of my income towards my retirement investments. And my financial advisor at the time congratulated me on this and said, oh, you'll be set for retirement. And I just didn't want to wait until I was 65 and a half to really reap a lot of the financial benefits that I could achieve by being a really hard worker. And so really changed mindsets and shifted. And it was sitting into Google and Googling passive income streams, multiple income streams, investing, FIRE, financial independence, retire early. And again, I kept seeing real estate investing pop up and just started binging everything I could about it, podcasts, reading books, going to conferences. And then after that, started to build and scale a real estate portfolio.
Got it. Yeah, so tell us the journey from, getting your first couple properties. What did you see in the opportunities in those and then scaling to about $20 million now?
Yeah, so really early on, as my husband and I started learning and discovering about real estate investing, we didn't have any capital to start investing, but we were sold on it, and we knew that we could use real estate investing to change our financial future. And so it was really talking to a financial savvy mortgage broker in the industry who saw that we owned our primary residence and had about $100,000 worth of equity in it. And I was so novice to real estate investing at the time, I didn't even know what equity was or that I could use this in the form of a second mortgage or a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. And he was showing me that you could take out a loan, I mean, an $80,000 loan at 4%. That's what interest rates were at the time, and use it to buy a cash flowing real estate investment property that's maybe earning you 15, 20%. So now you're not only paying down that loan every month, but it's bringing you cash flow. It's bringing you additional income every month. And so that was really an aha moment and a big reason why I really emphasize building in the network and the real estate community, how important it is to connect with others. There's so many different resources and opportunities and tools out there to build wealth that a lot of us are just never taught about. And so, really early on, it was taking out a second mortgage to buy two long-term properties across the country in Atlanta, Georgia. We were based in Los Angeles, California at the time, and so we wanted to invest out of state. And they were turnkey properties, earning us 100 to 100 bucks a month in cash flow. And it was really that first tenant moving out at the 6 month mark, and we had to repaint the whole place, and it was $6,000, and then it just really depleted a lot of our cash flow. And so really after that, we switched into multi-family investments. And I do want to say about those single family homes how powerful real estate investing is. Although they didn't cash flow us month to month, we were still able able to sell them 2 years later for huge appreciation value and still ended up earning a lot of money on those properties. So ended up being a great investment. And real estate investing is just so resilient because there's so many different ways that you can tap into income streams or the tax benefits, things like that. And so after we switched into multifamily, that's when we really realized the power of group investing and joining forces with other people to invest in asset classes that aren't as risky. In multifamily, you're now dealing with apartment complexes where there's 20, 30 people involved. And so if one building remains vacant or you have turnover costs in another one, it's not as detrimental because there's so much income coming in. And so we invest now in value add multifamily real estate. So we're looking to force appreciation into the deals. And we do this by buying buildings that were really mismanaged by their previous owners. Maybe they're held in the same family for generations, or they're just really not optimizing the apartment complex like a business. So, for example, the last building we bought, rents were 40% below market value. So, huge opportunity to buy the building, slowly increase rents, and appreciate the value of the building. Another example is we purchased a building where the roof needed to be replaced. It was $80,000, and the owner didn't have the $80,000 to replace the roof. And for them, it's much easier to just get rid of the property than it is to take care of the repairs and renovations. So we look for really great value add opportunities like this. This is where we come in and as investors look at the opportunity here. We raise capital and come at it from a team perspective.
Totally. Yeah. So tell us more about the criteria that you look for in these opportunities. What are the returns that investors should expect when going through you? What's the cash flow and then the net IRR to investors after fees?
Yeah, so we're looking to double our investors' money, so 100% ROI within 3 to 5 years. So in a sense, we're flipping these apartment complexes. And really what that comes out to is anywhere between 15 to 25% averaged annualized returns. And this is the number you'd want to compare to the stock market, which historically does around 6 to 7%. To date, we've purchased 8 buildings. We've gone full cycle on 3 buildings. We have over delivered on all of our projections for investors to date. So we have a lot of repeat investors. Our last deal that we raised for 98% of the investors that were coming into that deal were all repeat investors. So I work a lot with healthcare professionals. That's really why I launched my brand Net Worth Nurse, was to really build a community and create a platform where we could share these investment opportunities with healthcare professionals because they just don't really know that these investment opportunities exist or that they can be a part of real estate investing completely passively through these syndications.
Totally. Yeah, a lot of nurses and doctors. I've talked with some of those people personally, and they don't know. They think they have to go out, buy their own properties, manage them, on top of having a family. Like you're a mom, and you're a nurse, and you invest in real estate, so it takes up a lot of time. Tell us more about how you structure these deals. Are you guys the lead GP on these, or do you invest with other firms?
Yep. So my husband and I went through a very formal coaching program early on. It was $30,000. It was more than my master's degree in nursing. But for us, when we realized that we were going to do real estate syndications, we wanted to make sure we were doing everything we could as new real estate investors to really dot all our I's and cross our T's, have people looking over our shoulder at underwriting with decades, years of experience. We really wanted that comfort going into this space, all the legalities of it. And so my husband and I with Willow Investment Group are the GPs. Early on in our first few deals, we brought in key principals to gain a lot of that financial credibility amongst lenders coming in. That is something that they want to see, that they are leveraging their money to someone who's going to pay it back, right, in these loans. And so having some key principals come on as general partners in our deal was how we structure it. But otherwise, it's 80-20 split. So we purchase these apartment complexes in an LLC. 20% of it goes to the general partnership team, which is Willow Investment Group. And then 80% of it goes to our passive investors or our limited partners, meaning that our passive investors in these deals do own majority ownership of these investments.
For sure. Yeah, so you have a unique way of raising capital from primarily nurses. So tell us about how you started raising capital. Obviously, you have a lot of repeat investors because you did a great job. But how did you initially reach out to investors and expand your network?
Yeah, so starting out on this, I think like in my late 20s, reaching out to all my friends and family, like they didn't have the money to invest. I didn't have the high net worth circle early on, and so my friends and family around was very small, right? $200,000. I had a couple aunts and my father-in-law come in that first deal. And so then after that, I realized to make a bigger impact and to reach a broader audience that I needed to leverage social media. And so that's when I created my brand Net Worth Nurse. Went really big on Instagram early on, was doing 2 reels a day back in the day in 2020, 2021 during COVID when everyone was on their phone. So I did experience a good amount of growth there. I also made it a goal to guest on 100 podcasts in my first year as I launched my brand. And that was really the biggest thing that I did to connect with investors. It is my number one referral source for sure. When I have investors reaching out to me, majority of the time it's because they heard about what I do from a podcast. And I really just created it for value add and education. So educating nurses about these real estate syndications, what the returns look like, what the risk is for them, what they want to be aware of as they start investing in them, what the returns look like, the communication, like overall, what the business strategy is with them, and breaking it down into very, very simple terms and in a concise format because healthcare professionals are very busy. I mean, they don't have hours to be looking into these things. And so because I'm a nurse, I was able to really speak to my audience and from a very, very authentic tone. And really, that's been how I've been able to build so much rapport in the community.
Got it. Yeah, so it's definitely been a lot of referrals. I mean, how many leads? Because I'm curious. I just started social media about 2 years ago as well. Um, so how many of those leads came from cold traffic through social media versus referrals?
Yeah, so I've never paid for any ads on social media, just haven't really gone down that route. And so all of them would be considered cold that are coming in from social media. I would say that probably 20 to 30% are coming in, but regardless if that's not their first touch point with me, most of the time people have been following my stuff for a year, 2 years, sometimes before they reach out, or they were referred to it by a friend. And sometimes it's maybe coming across my Instagram page, but then they hop on my YouTube and check out my website. And so it really is beneficial to have multiple touch points where people can come into contact with you, and just your communication on different platforms is different. You know, the content that I share on Instagram is a little bit different than the content that I share on LinkedIn. So really being able to cater it to the audience on the specific platforms is really helpful as well.
Sure. Yeah, so question for myself. I mean, how do you manage being a mom, nurse, and doing real estate at the same time?
Yeah, so it's definitely forced me to build a lot of systems, right? So I have a lot of SOPs or standard operating procedures. So really early on in my business, if I started performing any task repetitively, it was assigned to me that this is something that I could delegate or automate. And there's different tools that I use. I mean, technology is so very important. G Suite is where I've built my entire business. Don't know what I would do without that. Just the Drive, Excel, Sheets. I have used Slack very regularly. Canva for graphics is amazing. I use like OfferUp and Upwork to tap into different people to help with things, whether it's graphic design. I do have a virtual assistant from the Philippines that I've been working with for the last 2 years, and she is absolutely amazing and helps with so much of social media. So we've just created a lot of different systems to streamline the processes. And now with AI, I mean, ChatGPT is just, it's insane, these stuff that you can do with that. So if you're not already using AI for building content, that's huge.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting too to see AI change. Like I made a script in a chat GPT. I put in my previous content and say, hey, make YouTube long form out of my short form content and then
Yeah.
to put together a script for long form. Just a great way to put out content. So yeah, you raise capital for multifamily and then you also have a fintech startup, Invest Health. So tell us a little bit more about that and how it helps people.
Yeah. So as I started having conversations with healthcare professionals about investing in real estate, I started to get many, many questions about basic financial principles that were just never taught. I mean, none of us are taught in traditional schooling. I think now they're starting to slowly catch on and implement it a little bit more, but the majority of us aren't taught this. And there's really a lot of stigma and taboo and almost embarrassment and shame when it comes to admitting some of the financial ignorance that a lot of us carry around with us unknowingly. And so for me, Invest Health became really as a financial wellness product to open the conversations, especially around healthcare professionals. So as a nurse manager, I would get all my new grad nurses hiring on sitting in my office asking how much to contribute to their 401k, that didn't really understand basic principles about money. And so our product is a financial benefit platform where all the users can come on, build a personalized financial plan. There's financial literacy resources, different things that they can tap into.
Interesting. Yeah, so what's your vision for, Invest Health? How do you plan to scale that and also your real estate investments kind of at the same time? I don't know what you're focused on, the majority of your time, but what's your plan for the future?
Yeah, so real estate investments is really my love and passion for financial literacy and financial wellness. It allowed me to achieve financial freedom, both my husband and I, within a few years of pursuing it and investing in real estate and really making it work for us. And so it's bought back so much freedom in my life and allowed me to really live a life on my own terms. And so Invest Health really stemmed out of that, of like now having all the time and freedom to create something that's really, really meaningful to me and to help improve the lives of other healthcare professionals. I mean, it was just so heartbreaking to see during the COVID pandemic people who were out saving lives, just living paycheck to paycheck or being in such financial stress and worry. It was so disheartening to see. And so really creating a product to help solve that need. But again, I've built up my businesses to incorporate a lot of assistance in terms of the automation delegation. And so being able to do that has been really helpful in scaling.
Totally. Yeah, do you plan on bringing employees in-house? I mean, I know you use virtual assistants, but do you plan on building a team around these companies?
Yeah, I mean, really where we're at right now, we can streamline so much of it with technology that by having a virtual assistant who is so well versed in many different aspects of the business, that she's really the main point of contact to help build all these systems. And so we haven't really needed more hours. It's almost to the point where it's streamlined enough that there's not an overload of work to be done. So we haven't gotten to the point in terms of scaling our team, but we always, I mean, we're very open to partnerships. That's been very, very big for me. I mean, early on in the healthcare space, connecting with other healthcare influencers, nurses that were going out and doing things. There's different ways that I've contributed to their communities and vice versa. So building and even in the real estate investing space, like made it a point to be very, very active in conferences. I was going around and speaking at them for a while. And so hosting meetups and attending different meetups. And so staying very active in the community and being very vocal about what you're doing and what lights you on fire and your passion, like really opens yourself up to business opportunities. Because when people think of something, they're like, oh yeah, I know Savannah, she's a nurse and she's doing this with the real estate, like I'll reach out to her about this. And so that's been very, very beneficial.
Totally, yeah. It seems like the VA takes a lot off your plate, and which is good for you with, your kids and then your two jobs. So I mean, a lot of people have trouble finding a VA that really works for them, especially overseas. Maybe they don't produce the quality of work that, a person in the US might. So how did you find that good employee?
Yeah, so my outdesk was great. I have they did a great job, but also the Upwork was fun. I mean, I found really great people on there. There's reviews that you can check out, and they're very specific about their work. So a lot of different resources on there that you can easily tap into and pick someone who's up to your liking. And you can start off like on a project basis or hourly basis. You can kind of ease into it if you're not ready to hire someone on 40 hours a week.
Totally. Yeah. So do you plan on investing in anything other than multifamily? I mean, there's a lot of groups out there that do multifamily. Just curious, what differentiates you and your husband and the firm you partner with, from other multifamily firms?
Yeah, so multifamily has just been one of the best asset classes in real estate. It's been the most resilient, even we found during the COVID pandemic. It was the first asset class to bounce back after the 2008 housing crisis. And so we have found it to be a very resilient and safe investment moving forward. We are general partners in a self-storage facility down in Arizona. So love that business model as well. And because I just recently left my employer at the beginning of the month, I have a huge amount in my IRA that I'm going to passively invest in with another company who's doing a hotel fund. So, a lot of different ways that you can diversify even within real estate investing by investing in different asset classes or by investing in different markets because all different markets perform very, very differently. So, that's another great way to diversify.
Totally. Yeah, and you can do opportunistic, value add, more buy and hold deals. So it depends on the time frame and when investors that want that as well. So, Savannah, how can investors or potential partners reach out to you?
Yeah, I'm super active on social media. So, Net Worth Nurse is my handle on a lot of the platforms. The Net Worth Nurse on Instagram. My website is networthnurse.co. From there, there's information to my real estate investing company and also my financial wellness startup. I absolutely love connecting with others about real estate investing. So, if anything I said here today caught your attention, please reach out. I would love to chat.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for coming on, Savannah. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for having me.